What's up, friends and antagonists, both minor and major? I'm Essel. Welcome to my quick impressions on my first couple hours of playing, so like about 3 hours of playing Bloodstained Ritual tonight. 3 hours on stream, at least. So this is a brand new game, backed by Kickstarter backers on Kickstarter, from Artplay, a new studio founded by Igarashi of Castlevania fame, and among other developers, I believe all from Castlevania or Konami history, among other vets in the industry, as is the case with a lot of the Kickstarter projects. So this is Bloodstained, a game that is very, very, very clearly a spiritual successor to Castlevania, especially as Konami has more or less abandoned it in Igarashi's absence and in the absence of, you know, interest in a lot of new stuff coming out of them. So what we have here is a game that is very, very much Castlevania. It's a side-scrolling action game with a map that looks like this, a lot of rooms and labyrinthine castles, villages, and other dark fantasy settings. And you go around defeating enemies, fighting bosses, using a series of increasingly complicated equipment, using weapon arcs to look like this, using items, stuff like that. All while also fighting floating swords now. Hi. Big 51. Anyway, this is painful. I played some Symphony of the Night not too long ago, and I believe we had some similar trouble with a sword weapon. I got a gadget, so we don't die. I bit off a little too much trying to do some commentary while fighting, it looks like. So, this is Bloodstained. We have equipment, as you will find a lot of Castlevania games. I haven't played much of the series. I've played Symphony of the Night now, and I believe a chunk of Aria of Sorrow for the DS, if that's what I'm thinking of at least. And so, not a series vet per se, but I've played a lot of Metroidvania games before, and so I'm feeling fairly comfortable with the genre, if not the series. I'm gonna back out of here so we can actually get some healing. Okay, we're in a little bit of an awkward spot. We'll just chill here for a sec. So, things I like so far, the game has remarkable feel. It feels like a Castlevania game. I'm not going to say it's quite rival Symphony of the Night because that game is brilliant on a lot of levels, but we have a backstep button that works really well. There's not a lot of spam it freely, like Symphony of the Night, but it works and it's a good way to dodge. The jumps feel very satisfying, they have a great arc to them, and are generally just a good experience. You have to commit to them, of course, but they are not too unwieldy to use. We're alive somehow, despite everything. So we're going to chill here for a sec while I show off some moves. We can slide from the start of the game. Feels pretty good. And as we're leveling up, we're acquiring some new features, like the shortcuts menu here. It lets us quickly swap between different types of loadouts, which will be good for if we want to have different types of magic. Because, like several Castlevania games, we're collecting summons along the way that we're getting from enemy drops. I believe that Aria of Sorrow is the one that focused on this. I'm not quite sure which games this started in or ended in, but this is the Castlevania mechanic through and through. Sometimes enemies will drop these shards, which are, you know, key to the lore of the story. We have stuff like Cerulean Splash, the first thing we get. Just a projectile, bounces like this. A lot like Castlevania items in Symphony of the Night, or the summons from stuff like Aria of Sorrow. We have summons, defensive shards, stuff like that. It's overall just a solid mechanic. Provides a lot of layered complexity and just layered decision making for players. But you have a lot of flexibility for how you want to, you know, develop your loadout. On top of that, though, we've got a great mechanic here of these directional skills, which are used by manipulating the right control stick. And those are all skill shots. They're a lot of fun. We have, so far, True Arrow and a few just, like, throwing things. We've got bones, cannonballs, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. Oh, the toad. I didn't know this was a directional one. Good stuff. It's very clever, and they all have different sort of uses and different types of arcs. So it's a lot of fun. We get some passives. I've barely started. We don't have familiars yet. We don't have manipulative ones. I don't know what this even means. So things about the game that are solid. I think, as we were discussing earlier on stream, the UI is a great mix. This is one of the snappiest and quickest responding UIs I have played with in a very long time. Everything is very, very instantaneous. We were earlier cycling through the shop to try some weapons out, and things were happening on a dime. It was fantastic just to use the UI. That being said, the font at the top of the screen here is very basic compared to everything else. There's a lot of things in the UI that feel just very off. Like, we have a lot of effort and attention paid to the backdrop here, to these filigrees and everything that are attached to half of the boxes, and then just, like, aerial. And it's just baffling. So, not really a huge knock on the game, but just a very weird tension so far that's been coming up a lot in how the game's presented. Some folks have expressed issues with the minimap. I think it's more or less fine, but it is very simplistic and a little bit off-tone compared to just how well-developed everything else is. The UI below as well, like, just for explaining button presses, a little on the simple side. That being said, these are all small presentation qualms, and not, I think, the key here, which is that the game is just a joy to play through. We're going to quickly move, so I want to show off some more combat and stuff. One thing we have been having trouble with so far, let's see what this does. I'm genuinely not sure what this does. Okay, ways to take us back here. Okay, now we know. Takes us exactly back to our starting area. That's good to know. Healing has not been plentiful so far. There's no healing skill that I've found yet, and no other way to replenish health other than stocking on potions. So we're gonna grab some potions, or hitting save rooms. The enemies hit pretty hard. The difficulty, I think, is not overbearing. It's certainly a game where you have to pay attention and actually put some dodging in, otherwise we will get into trouble. But otherwise is a
Is this right? Thank you.
Oh, it's my high potions now. Oh.
Thank you.
Okay, great. The game's setting is original, of course. We should buy a waypoint or two, actually. We think we have one left. The game's setting and premise are original, but of course very evocative of Castlevania, down to the presence of a mysterious castle that was summoned through magical means to unleash a demon army. It's very, very Castlevania on the nose a lot of the time, but I don't think that's a bad thing. So much as at least as long as the game holds up. I think the big story of this game, beyond just me talking about what's going on here, is whether or not it A, feels like a spiritual successor to the series, which I think so far very much so, and B, does it hold up to any kind of comparison? Because so far, in terms of Kickstarter success stories, we've had games like Wasteland 2 that have done really, really well and have sort of held up to their pedigree, and games like Mighty Number 9 that have not quite done so well, to put it mildly. So we can survive the Bloodbringer this time. Oh my god. There we go. Hey! Our first familiar shard. Look at this. Perfect illustration. I did not script this, I swear. Does not consume an MP. Wow. Oh. Oh, it's just like Symphony of the Night. They level up too. Why is it making noise? I don't love that, but you know what? We'll take it. We'll take some, like, animated sword grunts. Thought of this features from Symphony of the Night include stuff like this, perfect timing, where we end up with some techniques that involve, like, fighting game style inputs to do high-end attacks. The sword here, I believe we have an MP for this. No, we do not. Is it 30? Yep. We have a sword attack just doing a quarter circle forward plus X kind of thing. Oh, it was safe one here the whole time. Now we know. But yeah, I mean, everything complete to, wall turkey. Not quite wall turkey yet, but we found wall items at least. And the full complement of Castlevania stuff is here. And so that's a good feeling for series vets who want to just experience a game that's in the original style, lovingly crafted, and sure to receive updates. The voice talent in this game, I'll hold off on the boss for now. The voice talent in this game has been pretty strong, with the likes of Erica Lindbeck and the legendary David Hayter making appearances on the English voice cast. And David Hayter, at least, is doing a great Snake impression for his characters on Getsu, and it's a lot of fun. Very campy, very, very much a good time. This skill we have here we found to be very, very strong. Nothing's been quite this powerful, if you hit all 3 bolts at least. So yeah, the game is, what it says on the tin. It's a Castlevania revival in the best of ways. Oh, I don't like this. I believe these are bastards, the boulder guys here. But down to the doors, which are of course Castlevania-like, these transition rooms, which are Castlevania-like. The whole thing really evokes Symphony of the Night more than anything else, of course, but the series as a whole, I believe. So, My, 3-hour in impressions are that the game's certainly worth giving your attention to if you like Castlevania, and maybe if you're not. So far, the systems are very, very promising, even this early, especially given that we're certain to see more systems as the game goes on. That's the whole point of the genre. I think things like the sound design are a little on the basic side, and again, the presentation is not the game's strong suit. But on a game with what I'm assuming is a fairly limited budget, I know they did one Kickstarter, but that does not translate necessarily into the most large budget game you've ever seen in the world. I think they've done a great job, especially compared to the original demo, which folks, as I think rightfully called out the art style for being kind of off. They've done a great job. I think Miriam looks great, and there's unique models for both all the equipment except for the main clothing. So all the accessories are all modeled, and for every weapon too. Hey, that's fun. Secrets. Enjoy your secret lore, folks who are watching this. We got a Santa hat. If you're curious about why we have a lightsaber, by the way, that is a weapon that was designed by Kickstarter backers. We found a token to trade in for this, so there's a little bit of a minor crafting aspect to it, which I believe is present in games like Aria of Sorrow. And again, forgive me if that's the wrong game, I apologize. But it's been a blast so far. I'm looking forward to giving updated impressions. Again, it's very early, so if there's things like advanced movement mechanics that change how the game plays, stuff like, Hollow Knight, if you want to play for a few hours, you'd only have maybe seen one movement mechanic. So we're surely in for a treat later on. The dialogue is fun, and I'm invested enough in the lore to see where this game goes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And like I said, the main verdict so far is the game is certainly a solid pickup at the price point if you like Castlevania, and just a blast so far. A couple minor technical issues and presentation problems are maybe making this not the the most jaw-dropping experience of all time, but it's been a blast, and looking forward to playing more. So if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you consider checking out the videos or checking out the stream, and I'll hopefully catch you guys next time. Until then, peace.